Welcome to the Tuesday Night Live Show. I'm Santa Bob McMasters. This is June 14th, 2022. Tonight's guest is known as Santa Upper Claus, but all his friends know him simply as Bo. He was born in Texarkana, Texas, and moved to Oklahoma, where he was a photojournalist working for Channel 9. He founded the Oklahoma State Santas IBRBS affiliated chapter and served as a director for the IBRBS. Now retired and enjoys spending time with his wife, Jeannie, and family. Please stay with us. We have a lot more coming up with our special guest in just a moment. We'll be right back. This is Tuesday Night Live. Welcome back to our show. If you will, please give a warm welcome to the two best who make this show so pleasurable, my co-host along with our hardworking producer, Barry Cummins, and beautiful Angela Mack.
Hey, everybody. Glad you're with us tonight. Buckle up. It's going to be a great show.
Yes, it is. Very special guest tonight. Looking forward to this one. Here we are in week 23 of season 2. With another great show and great guest. So before we bring out this week's guest, let's do this, followed by Sleigh Driver Apparel Trivia.
All right, everyone. First, reach over there, give us a like and share this stream, help build our viewership and the show. And remember, replays can now be seen on our newly launched YouTube channel. Please go over and subscribe. You can find us at The Tuesday Night Live Show and just click on our picture and subscribe. The first half of the Tuesday Night Live Show trivia is sponsored by Derek Dugan, Sleigh Driver Apparel Company. Thank you so much, Derek, for your sponsorship. All right, we got movie trivia tonight. There were 2 Christmas films nominated for Best Picture at the 1947 Academy Awards and one nominated at the same awards in 1946. What are the names of the 3 films? There were 2 Christmas films nominated for Best Picture at the 1947 Academy Awards and one at the 1946 Academy Awards. What's the name of the 3 films? Good luck on that.
I think 1 or 2 of these will pop into your head. You may have to search for the third one, or possibly not. These are all well-known Christmas movies, films. Remember, if you won in the last 30 days, you are not eligible to play. It's the Scott Parker rule, as we like to call it.
Maybe we'll start getting some good answers coming in here in a little bit. 2 of them are really, really classics. I mean, real classics.
Yes, they are. Everybody's got their fingers working hard on the keyboards. I can just hear it and see the smoke coming off the tabs.
Yeah, Google's their friend tonight.
A lot of our trivia questions, if you watch the movies a lot, you can usually 1 or 2 people may know the answer right off, but I think most everybody is familiar with having to go over and Google and get the answers. But again, it's well worth it because Derek does give out some really cool stuff as the trivia winner.
We need all 3 movies.
That's correct. All right, you want to go ahead and let's move along and let them go ahead and be working on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Tonight's special guest comes to us from Norman, Oklahoma. He grew up in Texarkana, Texas. 27 years ago, he and a friend walked into the Dallas Convention Center to discover on all the monitors There were images from the Channel 9 chopper of the Alfred Murrah building bombing. He didn't make it to Oklahoma City until a year later for the first anniversary, and 2 years later, moved there to help cover the trial in Denver. Please welcome tonight's special guest to the new Tuesday Night Live show, Santa Opa Claus, Bo Turner. Welcome, Bo.
Hi, Bo. Welcome to the show, brother. It's good to have you on. So let's just go ahead and dive in and get started with this. Let's start off getting to know more about Bo Turner before Santa. Everyone knows of you as Santa. Let's talk about you growing up in Texarkana and what you remember about those early days. Did you have any hobbies or play sports? And do you still have any family living there?
Yes, and yes. Growing up, my hobby, I discovered what a little pocket camera was. A little 110 camera with a built-in flash, and I just started taking pictures of stuff. And found myself laying in a bed of clover trying to take pictures of bumblebees. Not a smart thing to do. And from there, my love of photography just kept growing. Curiosity got the better of me, and I was a DJ in a radio station that we were housed in the same building as a TV station. And I was doing an overnight shift, and I went to the coffee pot one morning, and a gentleman from the TV station says, "Hey, would you like a job?" I'm like, "Well, I've got one." He says, "Well, the guy that's supposed to play the tape at 6 o'clock, he keeps oversleeping. I need somebody to play the tape. Would you like a job?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here. Anyway, I can do it." And from there, I got to noticing there was a camera there, and I said, "Hey, you mind if I pick that up and use it?" He said, "Don't break it." I'm like, "Okay." And they taught me how to listen to a police scanner, and sitting there one morning, it goes off, and I grabbed that camera and jumped in the car, and I was in the news business.
That's a pretty cool way to get started, for sure. So you said you do still have family living over there, so you still get back to East Texas every once in a while to visit family, I'm sure.
I tried to schedule it when the pine trees are not pollinating.
Yeah, that's a tough part for those of us that live down here in this region because I myself fight that same trouble, and that's all East Texas really is between Dallas and Texarkana and Shreveport, Louisiana.
Well, Bo, let's talk about what your earliest memories of Santa Claus was. As a small child, did you get to see Santa at a mall or a department store? And what was your favorite toy you received at Christmas?
I did not. I didn't meet a Santa until I was much older in life. We were kind of poor, and there wasn't a whole lot of opportunities in Texarkana for a child to go see a Santa, and other than like a parade. And but I never got to approach one. And me getting into the red suit was just by chance. I was very fortunate when my wife asked me, because at the time I had a salt and pepper beard, and she asked me. I say asked. She told me to be Santa for the grandbabies, and so I started doing research on it, and then the more I look into it, I'm like, oh my gosh, it costs a lot of money to be a Santa. And I was very fortunate, and some gentlemen reached out and offered me help and guidance, and in them doing so, made me think, there's got to be other guys like me that could benefit from getting together and sharing knowledge. And that's how I started the Oklahoma Santa Chapter.
So once you started your own family, family of your own, I'm sure that there are traditions in the Turner household that to this day you guys still enjoy as part of your Christmas. You want to tell us a little bit about your Christmas time now, once you've had a family and children?
We really didn't celebrate Christmas. I was until probably about 6 years ago. Uh, Jeannie and I got into a position, and so now we do a family. It's called the Turner Family Extravaganza every year, and there's some kind of crazy thing. And my favorite was the year of the onesies, and so we just do stuff like that. And my children, I never really exposed them to Santa because I didn't know him. Santa to me was the Santa on Rudolph every year when CBS played him. And when I decided to become Santa, that's kind of how I fashioned myself. That's how I wanted to be. And I got lucky and found Tim Conahan and went over to Branson to go to his school and met another Oklahoma guy and his wife there. And we started a friendship. And that's when I found out I was in real big trouble because Tim started putting up suggestions, said, "Can you?" And I'd say, "Sure." Next thing I know, he's got me going back to Branson to do some documentary. I'm like, why did I even volunteer to do this? I have no idea what I'm doing.
Well, Bo, you mentioned that your wife asked you to don the red suit, or pretty much told you was going to don the red suit. I know she performs with you. Have you got any tips as a couple that performs together as Santa or Mrs. Claus that you could share?
She is the most valuable thing to you on set if you can get them there. She has done things with children I had no idea you could do. But when a lot of times parents have built the expectations up of what Santa's going to be like, and the child has built this mental image, and you're so not what they expect. So we've all seen the crying faces and everything. She can sit there and do some of the most magical things I've ever seen from that child just on a dime and a turn. And most of it is making me look bad. Santa can't hear. He's old. And we play off that and get that wonderful moment for that family.
That's great. Well, Bo, we always like to ask because we feel it's important in sharing and teaching also. As Santa Claus, tell us about the most important success story you've had and what you learned from that.
My biggest success story is I had a gentleman at a excuse me, I'm sorry. I was at a family gathering. She was actually doing an appreciation party for a client, and her father was there. And as I walked in, I'm saying hi, greeting the hosts and everything, and seeing the children. So I just immediately drove to them. Well, I noticed this gentleman sitting in the corner with a beautiful beard and everything. So I just went into character and said my highs and everything. And he eventually, I had to go back out to my vehicle to retrieve something, and he followed me out. So I just started conversation with him and everything, and complimented him on his beard and stuff. And he later he wrote one of the best reviews I'd ever gotten from a visit, and I was so touched by it. And I reached out to him and I said, "Greg, would you like to join in on the fun?" He said, "Like, how much?" I said, "You are a Santa." you're not dressed with him like him yet. And so he said, sure. And now he's fallen in love with it. But I'm happy to have inspired somebody.
That's great.
Yeah, I believe you're speaking of Greg. He came to the class that we had back in last year, Oklahoma City, and attended. He was such an inspiration to all of us. He really came to learn, and he had so much input into our class that weekend. Such a wonderful person, and yes, he is a great Santa. I agree with you. All right, so Appa is the informal German name for grandfather or grandpa. I know that is the, as we call it, the Santa handle that you use. Tell us about the decision to brand yourself, your persona as Santa Appa Claus.
That came about from the grandchildren as well, because Jeannie had a friend, and their grandchildren referred to her as Alma. And she thought that was a cute name, so she wanted to be Alma to the grandchildren. And if you're going to be Alma, I've got to be Opa. And so that's how that started. Was the grandchildren just referred to us as Oma and Opa. And once you start into the Christmas community, you realize you've got to have some way to differentiate yourself, because everybody's Santa.
Very true.
And so I just, on a whim, decided to just add the Opa as into the persona now. And so here in Central Oklahoma, that's everyone knows me as Santa Opa.
And if the grandkids are involved, it's got to be special. So that was a great decision for you. All right, so moving along here, Bo, you joined IBRBS and became a regional rep, position that you had when I first met you. You found the Oklahoma State Santas and was heavily involved in the founding of that, and ran that up until you had your stroke. You was also elected as a board of director for IBRBS, but you had to retire after your major stroke. That was something that I know many of us know the struggles that you had there, and it's so heartwarming to see you doing so much better. You went through all your rehab, you done everything you had to do, but one of the things that stands out most from our time together at IBRBS was your tenure as the communications director in charge of communications. And you rebranded IBRBS with what we call a ribbon tree. Tell us about that, how you came up with that idea, and how proud you are for being able to contribute that way.
Well, I was just the recipient of some pretty good mistakes. And Stephen Arnold and I had been talking. And the one thing I told him, I said, as communications and marketing, with there has to be what I consider relentless consistency, to where if you see the iBurgs logo, you automatically, you see that ribbon tree, that's iBurgs. And then they had this cartoonish Santa character, and I'm like, we got to get away from that. And mainly, I just wanted the communications from the organization to the membership to be consistent in everything, and from the way meetings are handled, communication between the membership, and everything. As long as it's consistent, people know what to expect. There's comfort in that.
Well,
So,
Bo, have you
we reached out, and we got an animation, and when they did the animation, they did a ribbon, and I thought, well, it's almost like tinsel. Let's just decorate a tree that way, and we can use that as a universal brand. Because of the Mrs. Claus and everything, we wanted something that was generic. And that's how that came about.
And that was during the transition of being an all exclusive man's organization, and when the membership finally voted in Mrs. Clauses as full members, and that was a great point to at that point to be able to rebrand. And I absolutely got to tell you, I love the ribbon tree. It was such a great touch. Okay, Barry.
Bo, if you hadn't had the major stroke in 2019, what more would you like to accomplish as the iBurbs director?
I'm sorry about that. I'm just thinking in my head. I don't think there's a whole lot more I would like to have accomplished. There was, during my tenure, Barry, there had been a vote to allow designer beer stands into the organization. That failed and everything. And there was a little bit of animosity within the membership, I felt. And when they voted in the Mrs. Claus, we just needed this, cut out the gender specific stuff, just be more inclusive. Even though this has been the outcome of the vote, this is where we are today. How are we going to move forward? And with that attitude, I think the organization took steps in the right direction and has grown since.
I think it was pretty unanimous that most of the board members and those of us who was appointed into roles within IBRVS was in favor. I think, and have always thought that we're all the same. It should be all inclusive, and I think that vote only missed by like 2 percentage points or something like that, wasn't it, Bo? I mean, it wasn't much, and with the way that the bylaws were written, it had to be something like 67% of the membership had to pass it, and like I said, I think it only missed by a couple of points.
The bylaws were set up; it had to be a supermajority.
Yes,
and it was technically it was not, so therefore the vote failed. But reading between the lines, you could see there was an attitude within the membership and outside of the organization itself. There was a bit of a divisiveness that's starting to build between traditional and real beer. And you go back to AORBs and everything, there's always been this rift within the organization. I think iBurbs went to great lengths to try to avoid that.
yes.
And the inclusiveness of the membership in the decisions it's a great business model.
Well, and since then, I sat on the bylaws committee just before I retired from those positions, and we had worked on verbiage. There was no way that we were going to try to send that back out to the membership to try to pass it again. It just, the timing wasn't right, so we was able to go in and clean up the verbiage. And the way the bylaws read now, after that this last rewording of the way the bylaws were has actually opened it up a little bit more. And I'm like you, I just wish that there was no animosity, because there's really no need in it. We all have the same heart as Santa, and doesn't matter if you got hair growing out of your chin or if you don't. And we'll get more on that with you here soon. But right now, let's take a short breather here. We're going to take a break for a special product announcement. So catch your breath, get you a drink of water, and stay with us. And we're going to do this, and we'll be right back. Of course, that sound can only mean one thing. It's time for the Showstopper Special. Tuesday Night Live, StuffForSanta.com Showstopper Special. Won't be going out to Spangle. He is out of pocket again tonight. So I will go through the Showstopper Special for this week. Tuesday Night Live Showstopper Special, again, is the reindeer cards. I think everyone's familiar with them. 100 reindeer cards The normal retail on those when Spangle launched them was $100. He has them listed on his website, stuffersanta.com, at $60, which is a special. And for the Tuesday Night Live special, we're going to do those for $50 and free shipping. So that's quite a bit of a savings there. Of course, this is good through next Monday, June 20th. So if you're interested in getting some of those cards with the season sneaking in here, everyone's going to have to start preparing for the season soon. Now's a good time to start buying some of the giveaways and the things that you'll give to the children. Trendy cards make great giveaways.
Yeah, the children I've given them to, they just absolutely love those things.
Yeah, so if you want some, reach out to Spangle and let him know that you want some of those and tell him that you've seen it here. All right, Angela.
You are watching Tuesday Night Live with Bob Berry and Angela. Sponsored by StuffForSanta.com and SchoolOfSantas.com, where you can find everything you need for your Santa and Mrs. Claus professional business. Remember, if Spangle ain't got it, you just don't need it, so contact Spangle today for all your red suit accessories and more. And be sure and tell everyone where you got all that cool stuff. Now back to our show with Bob Berry, Angela, and, of course, more Spangle with trivia fun.
All right, tonight's StuffForSanta.com and SchoolOfSantas.com trivia question is, and we're going to stick with movies. In the movie Toy Story, what was Buzz Lightyear's originally going to be named? What was Buzz Lightyear originally going to be named in the movie Toy Story? Good luck on that, everyone. Throw your answers into the comment box, and we will reveal the answer to this and the other trivia question towards the end of the show. And as always, we will announce the winners tomorrow on Set Bob's Live. This one here's another tough one, Barry.
It is, even though I've seen it several times, I hadn't a clue that it was that name.
Yeah, me neither. That's why I thought it would make a great trivia question this week, one that they have to research. All right, so while you guys are looking for that, the movie Toy Story, what was Buzz Lightyear's originally going to be named? And it looks like we've got some answers coming in there. So let's go ahead and move along. So, Bo, we're going to jump right back into it and hear more about your story here. After the stroke, I know you went through some extensive rehab. Have you had to perform less during Christmas, or do you still do the same number of events that you did before?
It's I do more events and less home visits.
So you're still staying pretty busy with it all.
I am. Luckily, I'm able to do a lot more charity stuff.
Yeah. Barry?
Well, Bo, normally guys go from traditional beards to real beards. You went from real bearded to traditional beard, and you said there was a reason that you made the move. Can you tell us and the viewers why?
I can. After the stroke, in that first season out, we had gone in and re-bleached me and everything, and I was using Trionics, saved us, we thought, and everything, but I'd had a reaction and there, it had burnt under my beard a little bit on my skin, and I didn't think much of it. And but with the beard, I wasn't getting air to it, and it wasn't healing, so it started flaking and scabbing on me. And so next time I tried to be careful, it was just the skin underneath was too aggravated, and I just I was having a hard time. And so I had a friend over in Tulsa who is a traditional beard, and got to talking with him and everything. And he said, you know, here, try it. So we went visited with him and looked at it and stuff. And I said, well, I'll try it. So government's giving me away free money. I'm like, well, I'll just use it. So that's how I decided to go ahead and order the wig and beard set. And after I got it, and Robert came over and he showed me and Jeannie how to apply it correctly and stuff. And I was scared to death. Like, how was first because it wasn't a real beard. How was how were the children going to receive me, and how was I did it look right? So I was worried about all that unnecessarily. And once I got back in the suit and those kids came to me, it was the magic was still there.
Absolutely. Now, did you find it easier or harder to perform as Santa with a traditional beard as opposed to real bearded?
I found it a little more difficult with the traditional beard just because I wasn't used to having it on all the time and everything. So trying to eat with it and everything like that, like we all have suffered through. Well, when you really are not used to the mustache and stuff, I was a mess. But luckily, I was doing studio sessions, and so I wasn't having a lot of stuff. And if something happened, I can fix myself back. And when some of the regular families that I would see in a studio session, when they came through and see them live, I'm okay. This will be fine.
Absolutely. Well, do your clients still recognize you as Santa without your beard?
Not at all. It's
It is amazing the difference in seeing someone with a beard and seeing them without the beard. It's kind of like a sticker shock.
we had gone here in Norman to a Fourth of July celebration. It was community celebration. One during the pandemic where everybody kind of came back together out there with my clean shaven face, by with the beard, and I got jealous. I used to look that good.
All right, so I have a question for you, Bo. Did you start off as a real bearded Santa, or did you do a season or two as a traditional beard? Like, you know, I started off my first year as traditional beard before I actually let
No,
mine.
I started out as a real bearded Santa.
Very good. Okay, so Bo, something that we haven't talked about is your career as a photojournalist. Can you tell us? Well, you kind of told us how your career started, so we already kind of covered that. But then you went to work for KWTV, I think it was Channel 9. I know that's correct, in Oklahoma City, and that's a CBS affiliate. Do you miss the guys you used to work with, and do you miss that work any at all?
The work, no. The people, yes.
Yeah.
I when I was in the news business, I covered courts and the police beat. So every day I saw people at their worst.
Well, Bo, what's some of your fondest memories working for Channel 9, and what do you miss most about being retired from photojournalism?
What I miss most is the daily interaction with the people in the community, just being out. uh, conversations with people over the age of 6. Yeah, we have a home daycare here, so I have children in and out of my day every day. And that was the biggest adjustment, Bob, was after I shaved my beard when they came through, is have them have to relearn who Opa is without the beard. And once they got the concept of it, I think that's when I started really figuring out how much I missed life with the beard, because there's a little bit of recognition when you look like this 24/7.
Yeah.
And much it's kind of like when I had my stroke, my world changed. Well, when I took the beard off, it changed, and I wasn't mentally prepared for the changes in it. So I had to do a little adjustment in my mindset as well, because I mentioned it earlier, and I'll say it again. The first time I was in a store and a child looked at me and smiled, I went into Santa mode and I started interacting with him, and then I realized I don't have the beard, and I can't do that anymore. 'Cause I'm no longer the guy that looks like Santa. I've just in a flash became the creepy guy.
Well, Bo, we mentioned you covering the Oklahoma City bombing trial in Denver. What did it mean to you to be able to document history, and what was a couple of things that you took away from that experience?
It was eye opening, because here I was, this young man from Northeast Texas who now was thrust into a national story to cover, and I'm trying to learn as I'm going, and everything goes 90 miles an hour in that environment, and so I'm learning as I go, and to see people on television, to be standing there next to Dan Rather, oh my gosh, it's quite it's the experience, and it's humbling to see people who have been devastated walking in their faith. It's so uplifting to be part to experience that with them.
That's pretty cool, and probably a lot of us probably watched the video footage that you shot during that time.
That's another thing about retirement is when I'm sitting here watching the news, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember shooting that.
Do you ever want to critique a cameraman, photojournalist, when they're not getting the shot just right or the angle just right? I mean, I know, we all catch ourselves being the Monday morning quarterback sometimes.
I am those people I used to talk about.
All right, so at this time, Bo, let's go out to our viewers tonight and see if they have any questions or comments. I know Tom Carmody has put up a couple of comments here. One he put when you were speaking about being Santa, he says you are still Santa because of your heart, which was a great compliment from Tom. Thomas Carmody, as we all know, has been a great friend for many of us, including Bo and myself, and one of our show sponsors, we might add. Anybody got any questions for Bo that they'd like to put up? Do put them in the comment box, and we'll share those. I got one for you, Bo, from myself. Do you still do a lot of home improvements? I know at one time you built your patio cover and your patio, and was working hard on your house. I don't guess you get out there and do much of that anymore, especially in the heat with being a stroke survivor.
Don't do half as many projects as we used to, but we've got one right now. We're converting the garage into another for the daycare. Almost got that one finished up. So once we get that one checked off Mama's to-do list, who knows where we're going to go.
Hey, Mama's always got a to-do list. I know mine does. Melissa Bunton wants to know, what does your Mrs. Claus do during a session? What does she help you do as Mrs. Claus?
She keeps me in line.
Yes, that's important. Tom Carmody says, how is the garage makeover coming along? Well, we were just talking about that, Tom.
Mama's happy, Tom, so we're all doing good.
Now, does Mrs. Claus with you, does she the first one to greet the children, or do y'all just allow them to come on up to you if they will?
No, I generally will come into the room and everything, and I will introduce her and everything, because I attended the workshop, and that was one of the things that was taught, was Mrs. Claus needs to not be, she needs to be equal. This is Santa's bride. Treat her like the lady she is, and use my actions as Santa toward her as a way to show children this is how you treat a lady.
Absolutely. And so many of those children, they don't know that or get taught that these days. Well, Bo, before we let you go, is there anything we haven't covered that you would like to share, add any special thoughts or encouraging words for our audience?
Barry caught me up in a drift. My mind was still back in Oregon.
Now, is there anything that you would like to say or share or add, any special thoughts or encouraging words for our audience?
The one thing I will say, if you have a question, do not be afraid to ask, because there are gifted individuals in this community that are more than willing to help you. If they don't know the answer, like myself, we will find the answer for you. And also be willing to accept that answer, even if it's not the way you want it to be.
Well, that is so true. Tom Carmody wants to know if you're still the barbecue king, and where is the brisket?
Yeah, I am still a pit master. And it's too expensive, Tom. I can't afford it.
Boy, and that's the truth too. Prices have just gone skyrocketing. All right, Barry.
Well, both stay with us, because we have a segment we do each week called Santa's Point of View, or Point of View. We use this time as a teaching moment to share a tip or point of view from our experience as Santa. And Bob has a point of view tonight, so take it away there, Bob.
So my point of view tonight, it stresses the importance of being prepared for the season, but it really even goes further than that. I mean, as Bo has reflected earlier about grabbing a camera and going out and catching footage as a photojournalist, how important it is to be prepared and have a game plan and know where you're headed. So right now is the time for everyone to start thinking about the season coming up. If you haven't signed a contract, or you haven't laid out plans for doing home visits, or if you haven't completely filled your schedule up yet, reach out to the folks that you have done events for in the past, and remind them that it's time to think about signing you as bringing you in to do an event for them again. Always have your suit cleaned and ready to go. Be sure and take care of yourself health-wise. Get your doctor's appointments. Make sure that you get your shots if you need them. And make sure that you get all your medication that you need. But start preparing for the season, because before we know it, the season is going to be here. Most of us start, towards the 1st of November. And so if you wait too late, you get yourself running behind. it throws you behind for the season. So just remember the importance of being prepared for the season, and now's the time to get started. All right, let's reveal the trivia question and answers tonight. And before I give the answer to the Sleigh Driver Apparel, we're going to run that little promo that we didn't run earlier. Go ahead, Angela.
The first half of tonight's Tuesday Night Live show is brought to you by Derek Dugan's Sleigh Driver Apparel Company. You can find Derek's store on etsy.com/shop/sleighDriverApparel or contact Derek Dugan for all your custom apparel needs. Now back to our show with Bob Berry and Angela. This is Tuesday Night Live.
All right, Barry, you want to give the Sleigh Driver Apparel answers out?
Yeah, you go ahead. You got that in front of you. I don't have it, Bob.
Very good. Okay, so there were 2 Christmas films nominated for Best Pictures at the 1947 Academy Awards and 1 in 1946. What are the 3 films? Those 3 films are Miracle on 34th Street. I think most everyone knew that. The Bishop's Wife was number 2, and It's a Wonderful Life was the one from 1946. And that's quite a run for Christmas movies right there together in 2 years with the Academy. All right, and then for the Spangle trivia question, StuffForSanta.com and SchoolOfSantas.com. In the movie Toy Story, what was Buzz Lightyear's originally going to be named? That was Lunar Larry, Lunar Larry, Lunar Larry. And I saw that quite a few people had that correct answer. So we'll announce the winners to that tomorrow or maybe later tonight on the Set Bob's Live group. So go over there and look for those. All right, Barry.
All right. Remember, folks, if you're not watching the live stream but have a question or comment, just add it to the comment box when watching the replay. We'll forward those to each of our guests and do our best to get those answered for you. Invite everyone to share and invite your friends to our weekly Tuesday Night Live broadcast and our Bob and Barry live preview show Mondays at 3 p.m. Central Time, as well as both of our Facebook groups. You can find us at Santa and the Business of Being Santa and Sat Bob's Live, and now on YouTube at The Tuesday Night Live Show. Bo, thank you so much for coming on the Tuesday Night Live Show, giving us your time and sharing. God bless you. Prayers for continued health, brother.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you for coming on and sharing your journey with us. It's been quite a great journey for you, starting off with everything that you've done professionally and then stepping into the Santa world and becoming such a great Santa that so many of us have gotten to know and love. So thanks to our sponsors, as always, Spangle the Clown, StuffForSanta.com, SchoolOfSantas.com, Derek Dugan at Sleigh Driver Apparel Company. Thank you so much, guys. Thank to Tom Carmody. Give him a shout out tonight. Remember, you can catch the recorded replays of this and every Tuesday Night Live show on both the Sat Bob's group and, as Barry mentioned, on our new YouTube channel. Remember to join us for the next Tuesday Night Live each week, 7 p.m. Central. Same clause time, same clause channel. Remember, we're better together. That's the MAPS motto. And thank you, Bo. God bless you, brother. You and Jeannie continue to prosper and take care of yourselves. Thank you so much, Barry. Thanks, Angela. And until next week, we want to say thank you to everyone out there. See you soon. God bless you. Good night. Why do we do this, Barry?
We do this. Be claws. We care. God bless you. And we'll see you next week.